Hey, what is up everybody? So a while back I made a video on flip video cameras. In the video I talked about what I think made the flip video camera so special and why they are no longer produced today. There was a point in the video where I mentioned that the Ultra HD had interchangeable batteries and how convenient it was. Well, the MinoHD did not have that feature. The battery was built right into the camera and it could not be easily removed. Upon receiving my MinoHD, which was given to me by a former employer who found no use for it anymore, they told me that the camera would no longer power on no matter how much I tried to charge it. After doing some internet research, I came to the conclusion that the battery had failed after so many years and it was time for it to be replaced. Now, typically when you're in a situation like this, you would send your camera to the manufacturer and then they would ship it back to you with a fresh new battery. Well, since flip video cameras are no longer in production, and since the company went out of business a few years ago, that wasn't really an option. After further research, I found an eBay seller that sold third-party batteries that were compatible with the flip Mino model that I had. I was able to match with the model number with the battery being sold to ensure that I was getting the correct product. Once I received the battery, and with the help of my dad, it was time to fix the camera. To do this as correctly as possible, I needed to make sure that we had the correct tools to ensure a successful surgery. If you plan on going forward with the same operation, these are the tools that I recommend using. You will need an iFixit opening tool, the replacement battery, HRC 40 tweezers, precision Phillips screwdrivers, and sticky black electrical tape. Now, typically I would throw a disclaimer up saying, oh, if you do this, it will void your warranty, but since the company's no longer in business, well, you got nothing to lose. First things first, we needed to unscrew the chassis from the camera. Using iFixit's opening tool, we slowly peeled away at two stickers at the bottom of the camera. Partially peeling these stickers revealed two very small screws. Using one of our precision screwdrivers, we removed the screws and set them aside. Now, real quick, I would like to say that this camera has extremely tiny screws. Keep track of all of them and make sure not to lose them. Another thing, you want to make sure that the screwdrivers you are using have a really good grip on them. The manufacturer really packed these screws in tight, so if you don't have a good grip on those screwdrivers, you are going to mess up the screw heads, so make sure you don't do that. After removing the screws, we went back to our opening tool to carefully open the chassis of the Mini. This involved carefully prying out the back of the camera. After successfully removing that part, we then carefully disconnected a small white cable that allows the touch-sensitive buttons on the back to function. We did this with a pair of tweezers. After that, it was time to disconnect the camera's viewfinder, or screen. Once again, using our iFixit opening tool, we carefully disconnected the top part of the screen, leaving the bottom part still connected. After that was done, it was time to move on to the motherboard. This component is the brain of the camera, so we had to be especially careful when handling it. Using one of our precision screwdrivers, we carefully removed 4 very tiny screws from the board. Again, make sure to put these in a place where you will not lose them. Something important to note, these screws do not entirely hold the motherboard down. There is still another part keeping the board hooked to the internals. We knew it was not especially necessary to remove the entire board, so we had to be really careful going into this. Below our board lied the battery housing and the battery. The housing was held down by more small screws and black sticky tape. Without disconnecting any major components, we unscrewed the housing, safely lifted it up, and carefully removed the battery after disconnecting it from the camera. Upon looking at the old battery, it was in pretty bad shape after years of use and many years of inactivity. It had just swelled up. It looked really, really bad. Using our electrical tape, we put the new battery in, connected that one by correctly lining up the cord, and went backwards from there. We screwed the housing and the board back together, attached the screen, plugged the touch-sensitive backplate back on, and then put it all back together in its housing simply by snapping the frame into place. Although this was a new battery, it pretty much had no juice in it. So to make sure it was back in working condition, I simply plugged the camera into my computer, let it sit there for about 15 minutes, and then the camera booted back up again. It was like magic. It was incredible. So to ensure we were doing this process correctly, we did rely on a couple of YouTube videos and an iFixit article. The article was our biggest reference, but it did have some flaws. I will leave a link to it in the description below. If you scroll down on the article, you will find the comment that I left talking about what we did versus what the article says, and just talking about, oh, you don't need to do this part of the article, you only need to do this part. So definitely check that out if you are considering doing the same thing that I did. So if you're looking to extend the longevity of your Flip MinoHD 3rd Gen, I hope this video will help you in your decision with doing that. And if you are considering buying an old one off eBay that doesn't work and you're looking to replace the battery, then hopefully this video helps you out with that. Big thanks to YouTube for opening up their YouTube space here in New York City. This is a pretty awesome set because my apartment wasn't going to cut it for a video like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.